Selling a home can come with a lot of conflicting feelings. Are you sure you're ready? Where do you even start? And how do you do it? I'm Angie Blanco, a realtor here in Miami, Florida with One Path Realty, and today I wanted to share with you 5 tips for selling your home. Whether this be your first time selling or your 10th, it's important to position yourself and your home in the best way possible to actually get it sold and to get you the outcome that you're expecting. Tip number 1, know why you're selling. Is it because you need to upsize for more space? Is the family growing and now you need another bedroom or a home office or a garage? Or the complete opposite? Do you feel like now your current place is too big? You've outgrown it and maybe have areas of the house that you don't even use anymore. Maybe your kids have grown up and fled the nest, or maybe you just don't want to have to mow a half-acre lawn anymore. You're ready to part ways and downsize into something more comfortable for your current needs and maybe have a little less maintenance to worry about. Or is this a completely transactional and business decision? Are you just looking to capitalize on the sale? Maybe you've owned this property for a number of years and have gained so much equity that now you're just looking to cash out and maybe reinvest somewhere else. Whatever the reason is, just know what it is and why you're doing it. This allows for the selling process to be so much more streamlined and less stressful, since all parties, you, your agent, are really clear on what your motivation is and why you've chosen to take this big step. And speaking of your agent, this brings us to tip number 2, which is finding a listing agent. This should be somebody who is eager to help you, of course, sell your home, but also properly guide you through the entire selling process, from even before listing all the way up until the closing. There are so many aspects of putting a house on the market that you want to get right in order to have the best outcome. And so having a qualified agent can help you do that. This includes things like accurately pricing the house for sale, preparing it to sell, marketing it strategically, and having a network of people to showcase it to and get it in front of. Now, to go into these in a little more detail, accurately pricing a house is one of the most, if not the most, important things that you can do when selling. I know a lot of times sellers will say, well, we can price it really high and then that'll give us some room to negotiate and eventually we'll end up at our number. In my experience though, this will hurt you more than it will help you, because 1, buyers are going to see a super overpriced house and not even consider it if it's too expensive and out of their budget. Secondly, 9 out of 10 homes that are overpriced will eventually need a price reduction because they sit on the market for so long, and once people start seeing a house sitting for so long and the price being cut, they start to wonder what's wrong with it, why hasn't anybody bought it yet, and why is it having such a hard time selling? They start to think that maybe this house isn't really that great, and if the price was cut once, then maybe they'll cut it again, and so on. It's basically a really bad domino effect and not an ideal situation for trying to get top dollar. Now, underpricing is not something that I would suggest either, because you'd essentially be selling at a discount and leaving money behind. This does, though, attract more buyers because who doesn't like a sale? But by no means am I suggesting that you sell your house for less than what it's worth. And this is why finding an agent with market knowledge and who knows what the current pricing trends are and finding that sweet spot for pricing your house to actually get it sold is so important. Another thing we mentioned that your agent will help you with is preparing your house to sell. We'll get a little more into this later, but this happens before listing, and it's basically to prep the home or alter minor things to make it as attractive as possible to the general public, which increases our chances of someone falling in love with it and making a strong offer. We also mentioned that your agent should have a marketing plan and a strong network of people to showcase this property to. This is really self-explanatory because without people seeing the property, it won't sell. So marketing it and showcasing it is absolutely vital to selling it. Tip number 3. Figure out the best time to list your home. This tip has 2 parts because first, we need to know when you'd like to have your home sold by, when you need it to be in your next place, and if you're working with any sort of timeline. Because if you are, then we need to give ourselves enough time to prep the home, get it listed, and get it sold. This whole process can take anywhere from a quick month to a few months, all depending on how aggressively we work it. If you don't really have a timeline or anywhere that you need it to be afterwards in a hurry and wanted to approach the sale a little calmer, then that's of course another option that you do have. So that was the first part. The second part of figuring out the best time to list your home is determining when there is more buyer activity in the real estate market. When are there more buyers shopping? Because more buyers can mean potentially higher offers if they see there's competition for one house. Now, I'm in Miami, Florida, so here there are always a lot of transactions happening because 1, we're so international, people are coming and going all the time, and 2, the weather is basically summer all year long, with the exception of maybe 2 weeks in the winter.
Welcome to Miami.
But nationally, the best time to sell your house is usually during the spring or summer months. The weather's more comfortable, kids are getting out of school, people are taking time off of work for vacations, and so on. This being said though, I also want to mention that if you needed to sell or wanted to sell during a time that wasn't the spring or summer, there are still strategies that we can use to get that home sold. Also, it's really important to note that the buyers who are looking for a home during the holidays or during the winter season are usually the most serious buyers, because a week before Thanksgiving, who's gonna go want to visit a house unless they really needed a house? Exactly. Tip number 4, declutter and handle repairs before listing. These are 2 things that your agent can help guide you with in the preparation stage before listing your home. Decluttering is a very helpful way of getting positive attention from buyers once we list, because it's the first impression that they get when they're scrolling through Zillow late at night. Forget a picture being worth 1,000 words. Our pictures need to be worth $500,000. So if there's clutter and rooms can't be seen very well, or there are just too many personalized items like a hallway full of generations of family portraits, then it's going to be a little more difficult for a buyer to envision themselves living there, and that's not ideal. Clutter can also bring a musty smell along with it, so we definitely want to tackle that too and give the house a nice deep cleaning. We just want to present the home as neutrally and as beautifully as possible, because this will help us attract more buyers and bring more offers. The repairs go hand in hand with the decluttering, although they're usually not as obvious as the clutter is. But if it's visible and minor, like maybe holes in the drywall, then it's definitely something that we might want to consider doing before taking pictures and listing the home, because we wouldn't want it to be the reason that a buyer didn't come see the house. It also depends on what it is and the magnitude of the repair. For example, if the house needed a new roof, it's usually not expected that you'd replace it, because although a new roof does increase the value of your home, it's not a 100% return on your money, so it's usually not worth it for you. In this case, we would typically just price accordingly considering the work that's needed. Tip number 5, increase your curb appeal. Just like decluttering helps present the home in the most attractive way possible, sprucing up your curb does the exact same thing, and it does not have to be expensive. It makes a great impression on potential buyers walking up to your front door or people just walking or driving by. The curb appeal can really set the tone for when buyers enter the house, and again, it doesn't have to be expensive. Doing things like pressure washing your walls and sidewalks, pulling weeds, having your lawn mowed, or maybe planting a few colorful flowers and fixing the fence that's falling over can go a long way. A house with curb appeal is naturally more inviting, and this is exactly the feeling that we want our potential buyers to have when they're approaching our listing, because it's very likely that after they see our place, they're on their way to see another. So we want to make their decision making as easy as possible, because then in return, we're also getting what we want and everyone's happy. They're getting a great house and we're getting serious buyers. Sound good, no? So after your sale, have you thought about where you're gonna go? If you're not sure and you're open to suggestions, then take a look at this neighborhood tour that I made for horse country. It's a beautiful area here in Miami that's completely unlike most of the city. Happy watching, and I will see you on the next one.